Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive.
Right.
We're getting into some seriously practical stuff today.
Definitely practical.
Because so many of you have been asking about getting your running gear all sorted.
Yeah, figuring out what you really need.
Exactly. So we found this awesome resource. It's called A Year-Round Guide to Running Essentials. It's actually made for the UK, with their ever-changing weather.
Oh, yeah. Notorious for that, aren't they?
But honestly, even if you don't live in the UK, if you've ever stepped outside for a run and been like, what on earth was I thinking wearing this? Then this guide has some gold for you.
I think what's really cool about it is it goes way beyond just like, here's a jacket, wear it when it's cold. It really gets into the why behind the gear choices, which is especially helpful if you're just getting into running.
Absolutely, and that's what we're all about here, right? Giving you those insights that actually make a difference in your runs.
Yeah.
So think of this as your cheat sheet, your distilled wisdom from this whole guide. We're going to break it down so you can figure out what's going to keep you comfy, safe, and loving every mile, no matter what the weather throws at you.
And no matter how much experience you have, right?
For sure. All right, let's kick things off with the absolute basics, the stuff everyone needs, the beginner essentials. What does our guide say?
Well, right off the bat, it emphasizes good running shoes. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, makes total sense.
I mean, they're your foundation.
like literally where the rubber meets the road.
Haha, exactly. But what's interesting is how much there is to think about with shoes. It's not as simple as you might think.
Okay, so it's not just about grabbing the coolest pair on the shelf. What do we need to be considering?
So the guide talks a lot about grip. And you've got basically two main types of shoes, your road shoes and your trail shoes. It's all about what kind of surface you're running on.
Right, so for someone who's completely new to this, paint us a picture. What's the difference between road shoes and trail shoes?
Okay, imagine road shoes are like those super sleek sports cars.
Oh, I like where this is going.
They're built for speed, right, and efficiency. You're on smooth, predictable pavement, so you need a shoe that's light, flexible, and has a pretty smooth outsole.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about trail shoes? Are we talking like monster truck vibes?
Yeah, kind of. Trail shoes are your off-road adventurers. They're designed for those unpredictable terrains where you need extra grip. So they have these deeper lugs, those little knobby bits on the bottom.
The grippy bits.
Yes. Those lugs dig into the dirt, the mud, the grass, you name it. They give you that traction and stability you need when things get uneven. Plus, the guide points out that trail shoes usually have a bit of a stiffer midsole, which protects your feet from rocks and roots and all the surprises you might find off-road.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So it's about matching the shoe to the terrain, like having the right tool for the job.
Exactly. Now, another thing the guide really stresses is getting the right size. Which, sounds obvious, but...
Oh, tell me about it. I've definitely squeezed my feet into shoes that felt okay in the store, then regretted it big time halfway through a run.
Yeah, we've all been there. But the guide explains why that happens. Your feet actually swell when you run, so you need a bit of extra space in those shoes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how much space are we talking?
They recommend about a thumb's width of space between your longest toe and the end of the shoe. That way, your toes aren't constantly hitting the front.
Oh, yeah. Bruised toenails are not part of the plan.
Definitely not. And another little tip they mention, try shoes on with the socks you actually run in. That makes a difference too, because sticker socks can change the fit quite a bit.
All right, noted. Now, one thing I always see in running shoe ads is all this talk about cushioning. It's like every brand has the newest, most amazing, super cushioning technology.
It's true. There's a lot of hype around that.
So is it all hype or is there something to it? What's the real deal with all this cushioning?
Well, the guide acknowledges that shoe technology has come a long way. And yeah, this super cushioning is all about absorbing shock, trying to lessen the impact on your joints, and potentially making those longer runs feel a bit easier on your body.
Right.
But here's the thing. The guide is really clear that while cushioning is a factor, it shouldn't be the deciding factor. The most important thing, hands down, is fit.
Fit is king, huh?
Fit is king. You could have the bounciest, most cushioned shoes in the world, but if they don't fit your foot properly, you're still going to be miserable.
Absolutely. Blisters, hot spots, you name it. No amount of fancy tech can fix a bad fit. Now, the guide even suggests going to a specialty running shop and getting a gait analysis. What is that exactly?
Okay, so your gait is basically how you move when you run, your biomechanics.
Right.
And what these experts do is they watch you run, often on a treadmill, and they analyze how your foot hits the ground, your stride, all that good stuff.
Interesting. So they can see if you're like a heel striker or a forefoot striker.
Exactly. And based on that, they can recommend shoes that are going to best support your natural movement patterns.
And I'm guessing that can help prevent injuries down the line?
Huge help with injury prevention. Especially if you're new to running, that can make a huge difference.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, shifting gears a bit here. The guide also talks about sports bras, which are obviously essential for women runners. Can you break down why a sports bra is so crucial for running?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about wearing any old bra, right?
Yeah.
Running, as you know, is high impact. There's a lot of up and down movement, which can put a lot of strain on breast tissue.
Right.
And that's where the sports bra comes in. It's specifically designed to minimize that bounce, to give you the support you need so you can focus on your run, not on discomfort.
So it's as much about comfort as it is about, like, long-term health, really.
Exactly. It can help prevent pain, strain, even sagging over time. And the guide mentions that sports bras come in different levels of support.
Oh, that's right. I've seen that.
And for running, you generally want to look for a high-impact bra that's going to give you the most support.
Okay, so finding the right sports bra is almost as important as finding the right running shoes.
I'd say so. And again, they recommend going to a specialty shop and getting fitted, because just like with shoes, finding the right fit is key.
All right, so shoes and sports bras, those are our non-negotiables for anyone starting out. What about the rest of the running wardrobe? Do you need to go out and buy all the fancy technical gear right away?
Actually, the guide gives some really good advice here. It says when you're just starting out, don't feel pressured to buy a whole new wardrobe. If you've got comfortable workout clothes that you already wear to the gym or for other activities, you can totally start with those.
That's good to know. Saves some money, right? But I'm guessing there comes a point when investing in some proper running gear is a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. And the guide talks about how certain materials are just way better for running, like moisture-wicking fabrics. Those are a game changer.
Okay, I've definitely heard that term moisture-wicking, but remind me what it actually means.
So imagine you're working up a sweat on a run, which hopefully you are.
Let's hope so.
Now, if you're wearing cotton, that cotton is just going to soak up all that sweat and stay wet.
Yeah, I've been there. Heavy, soggy, uncomfortable.
The worst. But with moisture-wicking fabrics like polyester or nylon, they're designed to pull the sweat away from your skin and help it evaporate.
So you stay drier.
Way drier, which means you stay cooler, more comfortable, and you're less likely to chafe, which is a whole other topic.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to chafing later. But for now, what are the, essential pieces of clothing that the guide recommends for beginners, aside from the shoes and sports bra, of course?
So they say a good base layer top is key. This is especially important if it's a bit chilly out.
Okay, so that first layer against your skin.
Yep. And then for bottoms, you've got options, leggings, tracksuit bottoms, or shorts. It's really personal preference.
Yeah, whatever feels good.
Exactly. And one thing they specifically call out is running socks. Not just any old socks, but moisture-wicking running socks.
Okay, so those help prevent blisters.
Big time. Blisters are a runner's enemy, so good socks are a must.
All right, good socks. Noted. Now, the guide makes a really important point about why investing in those key pieces, especially the shoes and sports bra, is so worthwhile early on.
It's not just about being comfortable during the run, although that's obviously important,
Right.
but it's really about setting yourself up for success in the long run. Literally.
Huh. Because if you're not comfortable, if you're in pain, you're less likely to stick with it.
Exactly. When you have the right gear, when you're comfortable and supported, you're more likely to enjoy your runs, which makes you want to keep going.
And that's what we want. Okay, so we've got our foundation. Now let's dive into how our gear needs might change as the seasons change. And I know this guide is focused on the UK, but like we said earlier, the principles apply no matter where you live.
Yeah, the UK just gives us a really good case study because they experience pretty much everything in one year.
4 seasons in one day, right?
Exactly. So let's start with spring. What's the UK's spring running scene like, according to our guide?
Okay, so they describe spring as a time of transition. You might start your run with a chill in the air, but then warm up as the sun comes out.
Yeah, that unpredictable in-between time.
And let's not forget the rain. Spring
Yeah.
showers, they're a thing.
Oh, yeah. Always be prepared for a bit of rain in the UK, no matter what time of year it is.
True. So what's the golden rule for spring running gear?
Layering.
Layering. It's all about layering.
It gives you that flexibility to adapt to the changing conditions as you go.
Okay, I'm getting the picture. So what are the actual pieces of clothing the guide recommends for spring?
All right, so for your base layer, that first layer against your skin, you want something lightweight and moisture-wicking, just like we talked about.
Keeping that sweat away.
Absolutely. Then, a half-zip top is a great option for spring. You can zip it up if you're feeling chilly, and as you warm up, you can unzip it for ventilation.
Makes sense. What about legs?
Yeah.
Shorts weather yet?
It depends. Some people might be ready for shorts by spring, others might still prefer tights. The guide suggests lightweight, breathable shorts or three-quarter tights, something that gives you options.
Options are good. And I bet a lightweight jacket is crucial for those spring showers, right?
Oh, yeah, I must have. Something packable that you can easily stuff in a pocket if the sun comes out.
Gotta love a good packable jacket.
Definitely. Now, for accessories, the guide recommends a few things. A running cap is great for shielding you from the sun and the rain.
Two birds, one stone.
Exactly. Then, some lightweight gloves for those chilly mornings. And a running bandana or buff, those are super versatile.
Oh, I love those. What are some ways you can use a buff?
Well, you can wear it around your neck for a bit of warmth. You can use it as a headband to keep sweat out of your eyes. You can even use it as a face covering if it's really cold.
Wow, so many uses. Anything else for spring?
Sunglasses are a good idea if the sun's out. Basically, with spring, it's all about being prepared for anything.
Makes sense. All right, moving on to summer. What's summer running like in the UK?
Well, summer can definitely get warm, but as the guide points out, it's still the UK, so rain is always a possibility.
Right, never rule out the rain.
Never.
Yeah.
So the focus in summer shifts to staying cool and protected from the sun.
And hydrated, of course.
Huge emphasis on hydration. So let's talk clothes. What are we wearing for summer runs?
Summer running wardrobe. Lay it on me.
Light and breathable, that's the key. Lightweight sweat-wicking tops are essential think vests or t-shirts.
Tops, yeah.
And for bottoms, it's usually breathable running shorts, weather.
Shorts it is. Any other summer clothing tips?
Oh, the guide mentions that lighter colors can actually help reflect heat, so that's something to keep in mind.
Oh, interesting. So white or light colored tops for those sunny days.
Exactly. All right, now summer accessories, where do we start?
Sun protection, I'm guessing, is top of the list.
Absolutely. A cap or visor is essential for keeping the sun out of your eyes. And good running sunglasses, ones that actually stay put when you're moving.
Yes, I hate it when sunglasses slide down your nose.
The worst. And of course, sunscreen is a must, high SPF, both UVA and UVB protection.
Protect that skin. And then hydration. What are our options for carrying water?
So for shorter runs, you can probably get away with a handheld water bottle.
Just something basic.
Yeah. But for longer runs, the guide recommends a running belt with bottles or flasks. Or for really long distances, hydration vests.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. They look pretty serious.
They're great for when you need to carry a lot of water, plus maybe some snacks or extra gear.
So it's about matching your hydration solution to the length of your run.
Exactly. And honestly, even if you're not doing super long runs, it's so important to stay hydrated in the summer. You lose so much fluid through sweat, you really need to replenish it.
Dehydration is no joke.
Not at all. It can really sneak up on you. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to mention. The guide says some summer running apparel actually has UV protection built right in.
Oh wow, that's cool. Like a bonus layer of protection.
Yeah, definitely something to look out for.
Okay, summer sorted. What about when things start to cool down? When autumn rolls around?
Autumn, or as they say in the UK, autumn. It's all about those cooler temperatures, more frequent rain, and yeah, the days are getting shorter.
Shorter days, that means less daylight for running.
Exactly. So visibility becomes a bigger concern. And of course, we need to adjust our layering strategy to stay warm.
Okay, so what's the essential clothing lineup for autumn?
You'll still want that moisture-wicking base layer, but you might switch to a long-sleeve top as it gets colder.
Makes sense. Or maybe still short sleeves if it's a mild day.
Yeah, options. And a lightweight mid-layer becomes really key in autumn. Think like a fleece or a thermal top.
Adding that extra warmth.
Yep. And then a waterproof and windproof jacket is really important for those rainy and windy days.
Gotta have that protection.
For sure. And for bottoms, again, it's personal preference. Some people might still be comfy in shorts, but a lot of runners switch to tights as it gets colder.
Tights for warmth, yeah. What about accessories for autumn runs?
Gloves start to become really important for keeping your hands warm.
Cold hands can ruin a run.
Totally. And a hat or headband can make a big difference too, especially since you lose a lot of heat through your head.
Oh, that's right. The head is a major heat loss zone.
It is. And then with those shorter days, reflective gear becomes essential.
Yeah, gotta make sure drivers can see you.
Absolutely. The guide recommends reflective jackets, vests, armbands, even shoes with reflective elements. Anything to help you stand out in low light.
So it's not just about staying warm in autumn, it's about staying safe too.
Exactly. And as always, make sure everything you're wearing is made of those moisture-wicking fabrics, because nobody wants to be running in damp clothes when it's cold.
Chilly and damp, that's a recipe for misery.
And potentially hypothermia, which is something the guide warns about when we get to winter.
Oh yeah, winter. The big one. The guide says it's the most challenging season for runners. What are we up against in winter?
Everything. We're talking cold temperatures, wind, rain, possibly ice or snow, and those super short days.
Yeah, barely any daylight for running.
It's tough. So the gear game plan for winter is all about maximizing warmth, protection from the elements, and being as safe as possible in low visibility.
Okay, this is serious business. Walk me through the winter wedding wardrobe essentials.
Okay, so starting with your base layer, you definitely want something thermal and moisture wicking, both a long sleeve top and leggings.
Max coverage.
Yeah, you want to trap as much heat as possible. Then an insulating mid layer, think fleece, thermal, something that's going to add another layer of warmth.
Layering up. And what about our outer layer?
You need a serious jacket for winter. Waterproof, windproof, but still breathable so you don't overheat.
Breathable is key. What about legs?
Winter running tights are your best friend. They're often thermal, and some even have windproof panels on the front to protect you from that biting wind.
Oh yeah, wind chill is real.
And don't forget thermal running socks. Cold feet can make a run absolutely miserable.
Warm feet are happy feet.
Exactly. Now, accessories are even more important in winter. A warm hat or beanie is essential.
Keeps that head heat in.
And warm running gloves. You might even want to look for ones that are touchscreen compatible, so you can use your phone without freezing your fingers off.
Oh, that's a good tip. What else?
A snood or neck warmer can be really helpful for protecting your face and neck from the cold.
Yeah, sometimes even a scarf isn't enough in winter.
And then for those dark runs, a head torch is absolutely essential. You need to see where you're going, and you need other people to see you.
Safety first.
Always. And depending on where you run and the conditions, you might even want to consider waterproof running shoes with really good grip, especially if there's ice or snow.
Makes sense. And I'm guessing reflective gear is even more crucial in winter, right?
Absolutely. Any reflective elements you can add to your outfit will help you be seen in those low light conditions.
So important for safety.
It really is. The guide actually warns about the risk of hypothermia if you're not properly dressed for winter running.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about discomfort. It's about serious health risks.
Right. If you're not wearing enough layers, if you get wet and cold, your body temperature can drop dangerously low. So layering is really crucial in winter, starting with that moisture-wicking base, then insulation, and then a protective outer layer.
All right, layering, warmth, safety. Those are our winter running mantras.
For sure. Now, on top of all the seasonal gear we've talked about, there are also some must-have accessories that the guide says are essential year-round.
Okay, the stuff we should always have with us no matter the season.
Exactly. And top of that list is hydration.
We've talked about this a lot, but it's so important. Why is hydration crucial in every season?
Well, you're always losing fluids when you run, no matter the temperature. And if you don't replenish those fluids, you can get dehydrated, which can lead to all sorts of problems.
Fatigue, dizziness, headaches, the list goes on.
And it can really impact your performance. So the guide recommends always having some way to carry water with you, whether that's a handheld bottle for shorter runs, a running belt with bottles for mid-distance, or a hydration vest for those longer efforts.
So many options.
It's about finding what works best for you and the type of running you do.
Makes sense. What else is on that year-round essentials list?
Nutrition. If you're going for runs longer than about an hour, you're going to need to fuel up.
Oh, right. Got to keep that energy going.
Exactly. So energy gels or chews are great for a quick boost during a run. And electrolyte drinks can be really helpful too, especially when it's hot out or if you're running for a long time.
They help replace those electrolytes you lose through sweat. Right.
Exactly. All right, next up, visibility. We've touched on this with the seasons, but it's really a year-round concern.
Keeping safe out there.
Especially if you're running in low-light conditions, which a lot of us do, whether it's early mornings or evenings.
Yeah, sometimes you got to work with the daylight you've got.
Exactly. So the guide really stresses the importance of wearing reflective gear all the time and using a headlamp or running lights if you're running in the dark.
See and be seen. That's the motto.
For sure. And finally, something that a lot of runners, especially newer runners, struggle with: chafing.
Oh yeah, chafing, not fun. What is it and how do we prevent it?
So chafing happens when you have skin rubbing against skin or clothing, and it often gets worse when you're sweating.
Yeah, this like fiction burns.
Basically, and it can be so uncomfortable. The guide recommends using anti-chafing balms or lubricants on those areas where you tend to chafe, and wearing proper fitting technical clothing made from smooth, moisture-wicking fabrics can help reduce friction.
Okay, so good clothing choices can make a big difference.
A huge difference.
Mm.
And addressing those problem areas proactively with a good anti-chafing product.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we've covered the essentials for every season, plus those year-round must-haves. Now, the guide also mentions some nice-to-have gear.
Ah, yes, the fun stuff.
The stuff that can really enhance your running experience, but isn't strictly necessary.
Exactly, like a fitness tracker or a running watch. Those are pretty popular these days.
Yeah, I see a lot of runners with them. What are they all about?
Well, they can track all sorts of data, your pace, distance, heart rate, even your cadence, which is how many steps you take per minute.
Wow, all kinds of data.
And a lot of them have GPS built in so they can map your runs really accurately.
Cool, so you can see exactly where you've been and how far you've run.
And some of the more advanced models have even more features like sleep tracking, training plans, all sorts of stuff.
So for people who are really into data and tracking their progress, those can be really motivating.
Definitely. What else? Oh, headphones.
Yeah, a lot of runners love listening to music or podcasts while they run,
It can be a great distraction, keeps you motivated.
especially on those long runs.
For sure. The guide talks about wireless headphones, which are great for freedom of movement, and open ear headphones, which are interesting because they allow you to hear your surroundings while still listening to your audio.
Oh, that's good for safety, right? You can still hear traffic and other people.
Exactly. So when you're choosing running headphones, look for something sweat resistant and with a secure fit so they don't fall out while you're bouncing around.
Makes sense. What else is in the nice-to-have category?
Running belts or arm straps, those are handy for carrying your phone, keys, energy gels, anything you need to keep with you.
Better than stuffing everything in your pockets.
Way better. And they come in all sorts of styles, minimalist ones with water bottle holders, you name it.
Okay, so it's about finding the right carrying solution for your needs.
Exactly. And then we can't forget about recovery.
Ah, yes, taking care of our bodies after those runs.
The guide mentions things like foam rollers, massage balls, even massage guns. Those can be really helpful for working out muscle knots and soreness.
I love a good foam roller session.
And compression wear, like compression socks or sleeves, can be good for recovery too.
Interesting. I've heard those help with circulation.
Yeah, and they might help reduce muscle fatigue. So all of these nice-to-have items, they're really about taking your running experience to the next level, whatever that means for you.
Yeah, whether it's about tracking your progress, staying motivated, or optimizing your recovery.
It's about personalization, finding what works best for you.
Love it. Now, one last thing the guide touches on is running resources specific to the UK.
Right.
But even if you don't live in the UK, I'm guessing these kinds of resources exist in a lot of places.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the running community is pretty global these days, so what kind of resources are they talking about?
Well, they mention online resources, like running magazines and websites. Those often have articles, training plans, gear reviews, all kinds of useful information.
Yeah, Runner's World, for example, they have a ton of great content.
And they mention specialty running stores. Those can be a great source of knowledge too, right?
Definitely. The staff are usually super knowledgeable, and a lot of those stores have blogs or online resources as well.
And then there's the world of running blogs.
Oh, yeah, there are so many great running blogs out there, from individual runners sharing their experiences to more professional blogs with reviews and advice.
So no matter what your level or your interest, there's a resource out there for you.
Absolutely. It's really cool to see how much information and support is available for runners.
Yeah, the running community is pretty awesome that way. So let's bring it all together. What are the key takeaways from this deep dive into running gear?
I think the biggest one is that choosing the right gear really matters. It's not just about fashion, it's about comfort, performance, and safety.
Right, and it can make the difference between loving your runs and dreading them.
Totally. And if you're just starting out, focus on those foundational pieces: good shoes, a supportive sports bra, and some basic moisture-wicking clothing.
And then, as you get more experience and as the seasons change, you can start to fine-tune your gear choices.
Exactly. And don't forget those year-round essentials: hydration, visibility, and addressing chafing. Those are important for everyone, no matter your level.
And then you can always add on those nice-to-have items as you figure out what works best for you and your goals.
It's a journey, right?
It is. And don't be afraid to tap into those resources we talked about. There's a whole community out there ready to support you.
Absolutely.
So I want you to think about this. How could understanding these principles of layering, protection, visibility really change your running game, no matter where you run or what weather you're dealing with?
Good question.
And what's one thing about your current running gear that you might reconsider after all this? That's something to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into running gear, and we'll see you next time.